We are back. Eagles Talk A2D Radio. We're going to talk about that win. It wasn't really convincing, PY, but we'll discuss it. What are our issues with it? And where do we go from here as we take on the Giants next week? So let us know. Join in on the fun. Let's go.
You love the Eagles, let me get a hell yeah! You love the Philadelphia Eagles, let me get a hell yeah! Philadelphia!
Eagles Talk A2D Radio. We are brought to you by Baggio's Bread, located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, home of the best of breads, tomato pie sandwiches, cutlets and meatballs. Mention A2D Radio for 10% off your in-store purchase. We are back. It's your boy Chucks, it's Brinks, and it's PY, and we will be joined again by Mr. Les Bowen in a little bit. But fellas, how are you feeling after that unconvincing win against the Browns this past Sunday?
I'm happy that they won. There were definitely some good things that happened yesterday. Definitely some good things, but it was unfortunately overshadowed by an immature clown head coach.
And we'll get
or was
that.
it?
How about you? How about you, Mister convincing win over here?
I was convinced in some fashions,
Yeah, okay.
and then I was unconvinced in others.
I am not going to let you live that down for the whole show. Just letting you know.
Please, I live down Ben Simmons.
All right, let it
Get
go.
outta here.
Yeah.
Let it go. Let it go.
So we are going to talk about that victory over the Browns. We're also going to talk about pretty much the headline since then, and what people have been talking about is one Mr. Nick Sirianni. So he's the topic of conversation, and for reasons even outside of the game, as I'm sure everyone knows now about the about him barking at the fans, or the fan. I don't know if you guys saw, but the fan that he was talking to did come out on Reddit and make a post, and someone posted on Twitter. So if you haven't been able to check that out, go check that out. It is a little bit of a lengthy post, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. But pretty much the fan was saying that it really wasn't that big of a deal. He was just, Nick was just talking to him about reassurance from what they were just talking to each other about in the beginning of the game about running the ball. So the fan did say that it wasn't anything heated. It was all in good fun. So that is that, but I'm sure there's a lot of conversations to be had about Nick and where he's at. So that leads to our poll question. The Eagles offense would be significantly improved if they fired Nick Sirianni and promoted Kellen Moore to head coach. Agree or disagree? Mr. PY, we're going to have you lead things off because I know last week you were here, the only one willing to defend Mr. Nick Sirianni. You're the only one saying that the Eagles you guaranteed a convincing win, a blowout win for the Eagles, and that did not happen despite us warning you against it and warning you not to make guarantees like that. But of course, in PY fashion, with those Eagles colored glasses, you're still going to go ahead and do it. So I'm going to let you open things up with the poll question. Agree or disagree?
So I disagree. Like I see why people would say that. Like I truly do. Like Nick is not helping himself lately, especially he did it on Sunday. And whether you believe the report or not, it's still not a good look. Like, I understand, you want to pump up your chest, rile up the fans a little bit, which is fine. You want to show everyone, I got the new haircut. It's a new me, new Nick. But, like, same antics, which is whatever. Like, I love Kellen Moore. I think he's a really good play caller. But just because you're a great play caller does not mean you're a great head coach. Doesn't mean you can do all the X's and O's that's needed at times to be the head coach. Like there's so many guys in the NFL to where as a play caller, they're geniuses. Kyle Shanahan, amazing play caller. You can make an argument he's not the greatest head coach at times. Josh McDaniels, phenomenal play caller. God-awful head coach. Like there's lots of guys to where they're really good as a play caller, but as a head coach, I just don't know. Like, and I'll say that just because Kellen Moore has never had the opportunity. So I can't say with 100% that he's going to be this massive improvement. Like obviously, I think people are just so soured on Nick, they would take anyone. Like they would take like a rock with a headset on and be like, yeah, that's going to be an improvement. And I get the Nick hate. I really do. Like, I think it's a little overblown at times. I also think he doesn't help the situation. And as much as I enjoy Kellen, and I think I would like to see Kellen get more aggressive at times or a little bit more control at times, I think a lot of the things that we've seen this season to where we've been like, oh, man, this is all Nick's fault. Like on Sunday, that 31 play where he's taken the blame for it. I think what we're seeing is Kellen has crapped the bed at times during the season with certain play calls, and Nick is taking it upon himself to take the blame, to spare his coordinators, spare his players, and take the heat because he knows he's going to get it anyway. So do I think that the Eagles team is going to be massively improved if Kellen Moore is a head coach? No, I don't.
All right, Brinks, how about you?
I agree. I don't really think it can be argued that this offense has underachieved. This offense, they've played 5 football games. They haven't scored points in the first quarter once. Like, that's, like, mind-blowing. And if you look at the data and how Kellen Moore has done things with both the Chargers and the Cowboys and how the Eagles are doing things here on offense, there's very little Kellen Moore fingerprints on this offense. So, like, it has to be, like, how can you have this team on offense and not have any points in the first quarter? That means your scripted plays are garbage. Now, I am under the assumption right now that this does not look like anything Kellen Moore has ever done in his coaching career, that Nick Sirianni is meddling in this offense with the scripted plays and whatnot. Maybe Nick scripts the plays and then lets Kellen do it, and then Nick steps in. I don't even know. It's so disorganized on offense. Like Kellen Moore being the head coach, like maybe not, but Kellen Moore needs to have full control of this offense, and I don't think he does. And the Cleveland Browns, as putrid as they are on offense, they're not bad on defense. Like, defense is not their problem over there. They have some good players. They have Myles Garrett, who's just an absolute animal. So the blueprint has been set. Don't let Saquon Barkley beat you, and you're gonna have a chance. So that's what happened yesterday. Saquon Barkley got enough touches to impact that game, and he didn't. He had 18 carries and 2 catches. That's 20 touches. That's plenty of touches for him to impact the game. The Cleveland Browns didn't let him do so. And they made some big plays with their receivers back, and it was enough to get the win. But the fact that this offense looks nothing like what Kellen Moore has done at all in his coaching career suggests that he's not in charge. Nick's still in charge, even though it was laid out that Nick was going to be the CEO guy and the coordinators were going to do their thing on each side of the ball. That's not happening on offense, in my opinion. So, I mean, should Nick Sirianni, I'm really against in-season coaching firings because I just don't think that helps anybody, even though I am so over Nick and his immaturity. But I don't know. That's where I'm at. Like, this offense needs to be better to start games because they're going to get hit in the mouth by the New York Giants next week. That's another good defense, and their offense is better than the Cleveland Browns. So they better buckle up and start way quicker on offense from here forward. Then you got the Bengals. Then I don't know who's after that, but the Ravens are coming up, I think. So they got to start faster somehow. So anything they can do in-house to get points on the board in the first quarter is what needs to happen because it's not good how they're starting football games.
All right, so before I answer the poll question, I'm going to get to some of the comments here. Matthew Wall says, I'm the only one watching right now. Everyone better hit that like, hit that subscribe. Thank you, Matt. Um, he also says, I'm convinced that our offense is still bland. Daly says, what's up? John Michael Wilson says, I thought Jalen played well. The offense has to start faster for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes to that. Nick says, Striker. I never know how to pronounce his name. Sorry, Nick. I do apologize. He says,
He listens a lot though, and we
yeah,
appreciate
he does. Yeah, I never know how to pronounce his name. Um, I do apologize. He says, I'm on the fence. I certainly don't think it could get worse. Martian says, best Jalen Hurts game since Buffalo last year. That's significant. Yeah. Tom says, yes and no. It's clear to call the offense to what they think Jalen's strengths are. I would have fired Nick weeks ago, but the offense runs to what throws Jalen is comfortable with. Have a good show. Daly says, I'm not sure about the poll. I do think Nick has definitely kept his fingers on the offense. It kind of shows. John Michael Wilson also says the Browns are better than a 1-5 team for sure. If Deshaun Watson played decent in any of them games this year, they would be 3-3 or 4-2-3, or 4-2-4-2. 3 losses by less than a touchdown. They have one of the top defenses and pass defense for sure. So I was happy with the win, and hopefully we can build off this and keep it going. Defense balled out. Offense played good enough to win. Jalen, no turnovers. His decision making was awesome. I love the no turnovers part. I do.
Yep.
I love that.
that's why they won.
Nick says head coach will always have a say on the game plan and scheme. I think that's where it's being fucked with. Sorry, I didn't mean that. Sorry, I didn't realize. Not necessarily all a play here and there. Apologies. Martian does his chucks. I didn't know you were a great dancer. Yes, that before I came to ATD, that was my thing. I'm
It was a stripper.
10 plus years of train dancing, but yes, I am. Little G Griffin says, I'm a big fan of the Eagles 2024 season. Eagles beat Giants, Eagles 3-2. Yeah. Mark says, language sucks. I apologize. And Danny says,
This is a family show.
I apologize. I definitely apologize for reading that off.
It's usually me.
Poll question. This I absolutely admit that this might be overreactionary, and I will say that after actually watching, I'm about mostly through the second quarter of the film. I've been out all day, so I didn't get to watch it earlier. So right before the show, I got started on it. Brinks, I wouldn't say that it looks nothing like Kellen Moore offense. We started to see more elements again. So like this is the first time we saw a lot of the motion and a lot of the things that we started to see week 1. So it's starting to be there, and I think it's a good sign. I will say that it's not enough. We didn't see enough of the stuff that we wanted to see. There's still plays where it's very static. I think the 3rd and 1 before halftime, where it led to a sack and then led to that blocked field goal, that one was atrocious. And I think that Nick did admit to making that call, whether he's covering up for Kellen or not, or if he really did make that call. I don't know. We won't know. But that was a play call that was definitely probably the worst of the game. And you want it's 3rd and 1. Why is everything down the field again?
I thought I was in the stands yesterday. I thought he got across the the stick, the pylon. It looked like it. I mean, I'm in.
Oh, you're talking about Saquon on the second down, on the second down play.
Whenever, yeah, I thought Saquon reached the ball. I thought they should have challenged.
He did too. I mean, it's under 2 minutes, so he can't challenge. But like, Saquon obviously thought so too. But I mean. I don't know. I didn't look too closely into it, but yeah, I mean that was it was a domino effect because you got the 3rd and 1 play, and on that 3rd and 1 call, all the routes were downfield. So that was a really bad call. I don't know why you'd call that, and then obviously it led to the bad field goal. But I'm gonna agree to the poll. And again, I admit it can be overreactionary. Maybe I'm just really, really fed up with Nick and seeing not seeing enough of Kellen's offense being used, even though we did, like I said, we did see more of it again this week after going back and watching the film. Um, I want to see, and the reason why I kind of would love to see what it would be like if they fired Nick and named Kellen head coach for the remainder of the year is because I want to see what the problem is. I want to see really what the problem like is this because you're not benching Jalen Hurts. Let's get that out of there. You're not benching Jalen Hurts. So the the first step to really finding out what the problem really is firing Nick, promoting Kellen Moore, and seeing if the offense looks different. If it looks different and it looks exactly what we expected of Kellen Moore, then obviously the problem was Nick. However, if it's more of the same issues, then obviously that leads it to being Jalen. Okay. So I'm gonna agree to the poll, but again, I understand like PY, you made some good points to to top out the show. Like you make good points that Nick there are some good things Nick is doing, and maybe Kellen Moore as a play caller isn't ready to be that head coach. So that's definitely possible. I'm just kind of looking at it from like I need to find out who the real problem is in this right now with this offense, and I don't know for sure yet until we actually something happen.
So Chuck, you think the only way to find out what the problem is to fire the head coach?
To start, yes, because we don't know. I will 100% admit we don't know. And let me bring in Les here before I make this statement, so Les can know. We don't know. I mainly don't know how much influence this or how much of a factor Jalen Hurts is in this. Like these problems that we see on offense, is it because Jalen likes to run it this way? Like they're not going to come out and say it. And we don't know exactly how much Nick really is calling of this offense. We don't know if he is covering up for Kellen or if he's really still calling these plays. Like it's all just conjecture right now. So the only way you can find out is if you let him go, because then it's just like now we're really going to see, was it him or not? Was it Kellen or not? Was it Hurts or not? So I don't again.
This is the actual NFL. And
yeah,
I mean, it's not like unplugging the router and plugging it back in or something. I mean, I just know I was exasperated enough yesterday when they blew the 10-0 lead to 10-10 at halftime to actually put on Twitter or X or whatever, is it time for a coaching change? But they won the game, and there's not going to be a coaching change. I mean, I don't. This is where I would like to still be a daily reporter, although I don't want to do all that work. I would like to be down there and really have an idea. There's all this talk about, it's Nick's imposing on Kellen and Kellen's not allowed to do. We don't have any idea, really. I mean, I don't fire the coach as a shot in the dark. It might be, and I don't. At this point, I have if Nick Sirianni were to be fired for whatever, I wouldn't, rend the hem of my garment or anything, but I just can't see this as some cure-all or anything that's really likely to make a difference. I do suspect that there are some issues with Jalen and his learning of Kellen's system that might be ironed out, eventually, or, maybe Kellen, it wasn't a wonderful fit for what Jalen can and can't do. I don't know. Or maybe Jalen just, is so stubborn that he's going to end up being like a Wentz type and not, be the answer. I don't know. But I wouldn't fire the coach right now to find out. No.
That's a good point. I didn't really think about that, Les. Is maybe we're still seeing some elements from last year's offense because Hurts still is adjusting and still Hurts is still learning. And surprisingly, I haven't seen anyone point that out.
Yeah, Jalen was the guy back in the spring who started talking about it being 95% different, which I know for a fact the coaching staff didn't like that very much, and the front office didn't like that very much. I mean, to him, this adjustment is a big deal. It's very, very true. I don't know if it would be for everybody, but it is for him. And, Jalen, after the first quarter yesterday, Jalen actually played very well.
Yeah.
So I'm just not, I'm exasperated, but no, I'm not at a fire the coach today kind of. If they had lost that game,
They tried their
They
best.
did
at the
try.
end.
Yes, it was. And have you
You
guys
don't
talked
get points
about
for
Nick
trying.
yet? Are we going to get to talk about Nick at some point here?
That's what I
Yes,
was going to
we're going to talk about him right now.
So
Okay.
let's dive into that. So, I had mentioned at the top of the show that the fan actually did post on Reddit and someone shared
Hey,
it.
fan, I saw that. Yeah, one
Did
of
you
my
see
sons
that?
sent that to me. Do we know, though, that
I don't know.
one thing, Nick's going over and doing this at the end of the game, that's not about running the ball.
Running the
That's,
ball.
no. And what Nick said today about wishing he hadn't reacted that way, that's not about a friendly back and forth with one guy. Yeah, I just don't know. We don't really know. But his whole deal, Nick did a good job today of making that the focal point, the interaction with the fan or fans at the end of the game. To me, that's not the focal point. The focal point is that bizarre bleeping press conference he gave with his kids where he tried to pretend that they had made some wonderful breakthrough in beating the Browns 20-16 and just sort of blew off all the questions about the fact that it wasn't a very good game and they didn't do all those things that they claimed they were going to come out of the bye week doing. They didn't have a fast start. The first series was every bit as big a disaster as every first series they've had this year, and he just sort of, it's a great win in the National Football League. Deshaun Watson, gosh, when you can beat a guy like that, oh, yeah. I was sitting there like, are you high?
Yes.
I still don't know what to make. And again, today he did a great job that nobody really focused on that part of it in the questioning. It was all about the thing about with the fans. And that, again, to me, not really the weirdest thing that happened.
If you're a beat reporter in that room, which I thought him bringing his kids to that press conference was disgusting, unprofessional, more clown behavior because he had his kids there, so no one would ask him any tough questions about the football game because he knows it wasn't a good game.
Absolutely.
I'm calling bull.
Let's see here.
I'm calling bull.
Okay.
Like that prevents people like Les doing his job.
How does it? So this is bothering me. So if you want to say you're a clown for bringing your kids up there to try and deflect, that's fine. But I'm like, do we not have tough journalists in Philadelphia? Do we not have people like Les Bowen in Philadelphia? Like, we have media members who will call the basketball team every name in the book, like Howard Eskin, and Jeff McCain will float every story out there is. But we're not going to ask Nick a tough question.
I think they did ask most of the questions, but I think the tone, I think it did affect the tone. I mean, even if I had been there, and I even wrote this, I could not have sat there with his kids on his lap and said, Nick, do you think if you'd have lost this game, you might get fired? I just wouldn't have been able to do that. They did ask some tough questions, but it definitely, and it used up there. You've got like 10 minutes there. I don't know if you guys noticed, but he used a decent amount of it. He was going back and forth over whether it was loud when the Browns had the ball. And he was polling the reporters who were like, I don't think it was that loud. And then he starts asking his kids individually if they thought it was loud.
Yeah, he took a knee. It's a total cop-out move. It was disgusting behavior. He has an obligation to answer questions after that game.
Did he not answer it?
He deserved that. The Philadelphia media and the Philadelphia fans deserve 10 minutes of his undivided attention so people like Les can do their job.
They got it.
The athletes and coaches accountable.
They got it. He answered all their questions. They got his time. It wasn't like he was there for 30 seconds with his kid.
Does he pay your rent, dude? Does he pay your rent, Nick Sirianni? Does he sign your check each week? What does this
He
guy
does
have
that.
to do to get
He does
criticism?
actually.
This guy has done a bad job this season. Nobody knows who's in charge. He's chirping at fans like a 10th grader. Probably some fans. It wouldn't surprise me at all if someone from the Eagles got in touch with that guy and said, "Hey, put this on Reddit and kind of diffuse this situation."
I don't know about that.
Standpoint. Wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise. Probably not, but it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Part of Big Dom's
That's some
job.
tinfoil hat stuff up there.
Yeah, I mean,
Big Dom either the guy puts that up there or he goes on a trip to the Delaware River. I don't know.
That's Kennedy assassination type stuff up there, man.
Well, I mean, we could do a whole 2 hour.
But seriously,
two-hour.
you're just saying that he answered all the questions.
Fine.
To me, and I wanted to look this up because I did post this earlier. If I could have been there today, I would have asked him, the negative reaction wasn't just about your post-game actions. Coming out of the bye, after everything that was said last week, fans expected a smoother, stronger operation. Was that not your expectation as well?
Mm-hmm.
And we still don't know. And I don't blame reporters for that, but he acted all week. It was going to be, if you listen to all this stuff during the week, they had discovered this and they had looked over that and they reviewed the other thing. And it was all going to be, things were going to be better. And then things weren't better. And he was trying to, his big contention, excuse me, I have a little cough here. His big contention was that the defense was so good, that you have to give us credit for that. The defense was just so good. It got going fast and, we worked out all the problems there. Well, you were playing the worst offense, certainly the worst offensive line you're likely to play this season. And maybe the worst quarterback, to act like that some great feat was achieved. He's either delusional or he's trying to convince the team that, that these are all positive steps and we're moving in the right direction. I don't know which it is. Anybody else? Thoughts on
Marshawn Lynch. I would bring my kids too if I was in trouble at work. I'm bringing my grandma to the HR meeting. That sums up my point exactly. He's done a bad job.
Let me add this. Like, I think, he's brought his kids to pressers before.
Yeah,
so
he's bringing them out in 2022.
Hold on, PY.
If they beat a team by 20 points and everything's, kisses and roses, sure, I don't care. Bring your kids. But
the only time I remember it is after they crushed San Francisco in that championship.
I think it was bringing the kids to the press conference. I don't have a problem with. I don't think that in and of itself.
I don't think that was the moment. That was the day for it. I've never seen a coach in an adversarial situation want to do something like that.
Yeah, it was the timing of when to do it, and then added on to what you said, Les, was that the fact that he kind of like ranted in a weird kind of way, and it's just if he had his kids up there and answered was just transparent and like acted like it was just a plain old press conference, looking press conference, then I don't think it would be that big of a deal. I think like what you said, Les, the issue is the way he went about it was just really odd. His what he was saying was a little odd, and so like I think that's what the focus should be.
Did anybody get his thing? And this was a new wrinkle for me. He basically wanted to shut down the fast starts talk because he didn't want the players obsessing over it. So if he basically refused to go into what was causing the slow starts, then the players wouldn't have to answer questions about it or be thinking about it at all. If I'm a player and we haven't scored a point in the first quarter all season, I don't really need the coach being questioned to make me wonder about that and think about that. I mean, that just seems so ridiculous. It was nuts. There's so many things that were weird. I hadn't even planned it. I actually did write something for PHLY. I don't know if you guys ever see that stuff, but I don't usually write after a game, but I couldn't. It was one of those times when I just had to write something. I couldn't not. I mean, it would have been nice to just watch TV all evening, but I was like, no, I have to write about this. It's just, I've been to some weird ass press conferences in my day. I was there the day that first time we'd seen Andy Reid since Brian Dawkins left, and he refused to answer any questions about it because they were announcing the signing of Sean Andrews, and it was Stacey Andrews. It was Stacey's day.
Yeah.
Stacey's day. Sean they drafted, obviously,
Yeah.
but it was Stacey's day, and so we couldn't ask about one of the premier figures in the history of the franchise leaving because it was Stacey's day. But this was weirder than that. I'm sorry, this was weirder than that.
It was weird. But I think, before we move on, because I do want to hit on some other, we won. There's some positive aspects.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. Yeah, they were absolutely positive.
But I think that
I mentioned Hurts as really the final 3 quarters of Hurts wasn't positive.
Yeah.
And the no turnovers for Hurts
was great. Yeah, exactly. So to close the book on the Nick conversation for now is, I think, like you said last, like he won the game, and there's no, I don't want to say no reason, but I think it's okay to just continue to see where this goes with Nick.
Yeah.
And I think that's level headed, and I think it's also
I don't have a great expectation that it's going to go straight out, into the stratosphere, but
yeah. Marcus did have a question for you, Les. He says, "Hi, Les. Do you think this team can still win the division? That performance yesterday makes me very concerned with winning the division. Nick is terrible, and Washington looks much better than us."
Does Washington look much better? I mean, they do look better. I mean, right now, I wouldn't pick the Eagles to beat them. It's a long season. The Eagles don't play Washington for quite a while yet. Who knows what the deal is going to be by then?
Yeah. And then on March,
this time last year, nobody else in the division thought they had a shot against those mighty, undefeated Eagles either. Yeah. So,
I forget what year it was, but there was another year where Washington got off to a hot start, and then by through midseason, and then they cooled off. And I forget what season that was. But
obviously, though, Jaden Daniels is the real thing. I think
he looks really good.
And they have some other good things about it, but their defense isn't great, as the Ravens showed yesterday. Their run defense, especially, isn't great. One of their best players is out for the season with a pec thing today.
Yeah, Jonathan Allen. He's out for the year.
We'll see how the year develops here. I'm not one to wring my hands in October over things like that. The good news is Dallas has so many guys injured. Dallas is horrible right now, which is the team I thought might be the better team than the Eagles in the division. The Giants are kind of, if you watched that game last night, holy crap, that was painful. They have a good defense at times. They have no offense still. So I don't, they can still win the division. To give it
absolutely. And I think that someone had posted this stat. If you look at Cliff Kingsbury and his tendencies, like his splits throughout every year, he always starts hot and then he flames out toward the end of the year. So maybe this year is different, but he's got to prove it. He's had a history of not finishing seasons well.
Right.
His defense does adjust to what he's doing, and then he doesn't adjust back. So we will see. He's doing a great job so far.
Yeah,
absolutely great job so far. We'll see how he continues to do at the end of the year. So I wouldn't count anyone out just yet. And then Martian does also ask this, and we all can kind of touch on this. He has thoughts on Saquon being direct callous of 2 brutal game-altering plays.
Boy, again, I'm not down there, but I was looking through all the coverage today. I guess he didn't talk after the game last night. Did anyone see any quotes from Saquon?
No.
I saw him.
That's not good.
He said he was 1-1. He said he's 1-1 at the link. Very brief something. Whoever does Derek Gunn's job now.
I really missed that, by the way. D Gunn did a great job with that deal, outside the locker room. Every day, every game, and we don't really get that anymore with every player or with as many players as he used to get. But yeah, I would write about that if I were still a beat writer. it's weird. I mean, he's been one of their best players. He's been certainly an overall net positive. But here you have again, in the Atlanta game, they basically lost because he couldn't catch that very easy pass. And this thing yesterday, okay, first you step out of bounds and maybe the ref, maybe it was not a great spot. They didn't challenge it, but, maybe they should have had the first down there. But if I'm Saquon Barkley and I don't get the first down there, the next rep, I'm going to be like, okay, my job is to block here. I'm not going to screw up again.
Yeah.
Instead, it was like, see ya.
And
it was a whiff. Yeah.
It's troubling that he has been at ground zero of two huge screw ups. This early in the season. I mean, maybe it means nothing, but maybe it means something too. I mean, the guy spent a lot of years around bad teams, and there's a little bit of, concern that with a lot of these guys, that Nick's such a happy, everything's wonderful. Maybe, you don't have to be Larry Boa or Buddy Ryan or anything, but sometimes the atmosphere around this team needs a little more vinegar, I think. And Saquon needs to clean stuff like that up. It's just because you're a great running back doesn't mean you can just turn games around by doing careless stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's the type of player who would absolutely admit to that and take fault. So yeah, he definitely has to clean up that those two mistakes, not getting the first down to where he obviously thought he got the first down.
Yeah, he might have. I haven't really watched it frame by frame, but watching the replay, it was like, did he really?
You've got to. When I first saw it live, I'm like, I thought he was short, so I was like, why aren't you like leaving without a doubt? That you got
that I can certainly agree.
And then on that third down play, and I talked about it at the top of the show, I was watching the film of it today, and for one, I called it live too. I was watching. He whiffed on that pass block. He's got to do much better, and he has done much better before. So that was a bit surprising. But also, like, that play design was just awful. Like, everything, all the routes were downfield. There was nothing over the middle, nothing quick. Yeah. On a third and one,
it was a zero blitz, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
and they didn't have any answers.
I don't know, but someone I was following said, if they could have picked up that blitzer, they would have had a touchdown. I don't know if that's true.
I don't know if that's true. Yeah.
You don't think so? Okay.
Maybe it's hard to say because, like, again, everything was so vertical. Possibly because, like, seeing, like, we all know Hurts, we saw at the end of the game, Hurts just throwing up bombs over to AJ Brown has a high success rate in terms of any, like, QB wide receiver duo. So very possible, but, like, everything was just so far downfield. Nothing was over the middle. So it's just like it would just be another, like, Jalen Hurts just throwing it up again. So possibly, but it's still a low percentage play.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
It's a low percentage play. So I mean, it's not. I'm not deflecting blame from Saquon, but it is just like that whole 3rd and 1 play was just god awful. Like that was just very, very bad. So yeah, I mean, Pete does say, let's get to some more comments. Pete says, Nick has brought his kids to the presser after huge wins in the postseason. Yesterday was not the place. It was not the place or time or best reflection for the head coach. That was a bad look. Today's press conference, Nick pretty much said that. I think he's trying to do everything possible to keep the attention off the team and on him. Let me see if there's any.
Why? These are grown men.
Yeah.
Like, he's not coaching high school.
Right.
He's not coaching college.
It doesn't matter. He's trying to keep his players away from the fire.
Do you think AJ Brown doesn't know that they stink in the first quarter? DeVonta Smith, Jalen Hurts.
They all said it.
They do have some players.
They want Nick to be this way. Multiple players have said that they've come up to him and they want him to be this passionate guy. Like, you've heard BG today talking about that's their guy. That's what they want from him. Like, he's a player's coach. He will take their side, even if he should call it out sometimes. He's not
Right.
going to do that. He's going to go out of his way to have the players' backs, even if he shouldn't at times. That's just what he is, and that's how he's going to coach this team.
Yeah. Chris
think
has
it's
a good question here for us about. Yeah, I think that's an overstatement there, Chris. I don't think he's interfering with the defense. He mentioned that he called one thing for the defense, and today when he was asked about that, he said, well, I think every head coach has times at a game where he says, we need to be more aggressive here or something like that. I don't think I'm not sure Nick even knows enough about the defensive scheme to actually send in a play. I think he probably told Fangio, hey, we need to go after this guy or something like that, And he's the head coach. I mean, it's not like he's a bystander or something. And the defense played real well. The defense certainly didn't give up any touchdowns or anything. So I don't think it's a great issue. But yeah, this will be something people will be tracking for sure, Chris. And thank you for your
thank you for the super chat. Chris.
Super chat.
Thank
you.
As far as the defense goes, because you touched on that, and Chris wanted to touch on that. I think that Sheil Kapadia put it in a very good way. It's a very accurate way. He said, we didn't really learn anything about the defense. They came out and they did what they were supposed to do.
Against a really bad offensive line. Yeah.
They
got a bunch of sacks, but if you looked at the sacks, not many of them were just really dominant.
Because he held on to the ball.
It was, in fact, one time Cooper DeJean ran right past him and then had to turn around and come back.
Yeah.
And eventually got this. Okay, it's a sack.
Yeah, it's. I think that it was good. Like, it wasn't far from bad. Like I said yesterday, I have no complaints with the defense. They did what they were supposed to do. They absolutely did what they were supposed to do. They they held the Browns to just 3 field goals, 9 points, and that is absolutely is what it is. It's did Aaron Rodgers just complete another Hail Mary?
No, they dropped it.
He dropped it? How did he drop? Oh no, they ruled it a touchdown. They ruled it a touchdown.
They're going to take a long look.
How is Aaron Rodgers? Aaron Rodgers is like,
now.
I don't know how this is possible. What is 4 Hail Marys? 4 Hail Marys for Aaron Rodgers in his career. That is.
You can't see the ball. They've given you an angle.
That's a catch. That's a catch.
Because he's down
catch.
already, so they established that he's already down and held on to it long enough.
Plays over.
Yeah, plays over. I guess that's why they ruled it. But yeah,
see when he brings the ball down there, though. Do you see the ball? I don't see the ball.
Out way after.
It comes out way after. Like, he has it, and then the Bills players after a while like punch it out.
So
but I
where
guess
is it right here? That's the
How
thing.
do you let that up? How do you let that up on defense? I'd be losing my mind.
Aaron Rodgers has this magic with Hail Marys.
It's going to stand. Looks like to me. Yeah. How about that? Huh.
That is insane. That is.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, sorry. Apologies. That's just insane. Yeah. I mean, the defense did what they did, and a lot of people in the chat were talking about, Cooper DeJean.
Yes.
Looks really good. I think
tremendous for a guy who hasn't played. Yep. Even though it was a bad team, he was all over the place. He really looked like he knew what he was doing. There was no rookie hesitancy or anything like that. If he can play like that, they're in great shape. And, Sidney Brown's going to show up at some point here before too long, which is probably
maybe next week.
I don't think Gardner Johnson is going to make the Pro Bowl this year.
No, he won't.
Nope.
He's not. He's not. Here's the thing with CJ is he's not providing the big splash plays he did 2 years ago to offset.
You don't say.
You know what I mean?
Well, here's my spiel on that. Coaches talk all the time about takeaways. If you look at team takeaways year to year to year to year, no team is up there every year. No team is. They teach it the same way and have the same guys a lot of times. But guess what? An awful lot of it is just luck.
Yeah.
The one thing that
if you look at
I was hesitant about 2 years ago with CJ, if you look back at some of those picks, at least 2 or 3 of them were balls that bounced off this guy and ended up in CJ's hands. And it wasn't like he jumped a route or did some, I've got a ball. Okay, I caught it. I'm an interceptor. I mean,
like half of them were Slay's about to go grab the ball and it knocks out of his hands and it goes right into CJ's. That's where we're like,
yes. And, I mean, he was a good safety in 2022. He wasn't as good as those interception numbers made him seem. And, he's not even doing that now. So, in fact, that the one interception that was hilarious. They looked 2 outfielders run together and
Quinian's reaction, how mad he was. I'm sure that was every Eagles fan. That was exactly our reaction. Was like, come on, he had it. He absolutely had it. It's going to happen.
Johnny, it's easy to say that, but everybody thought it was a great move at the time because last year's the safety position was a real problem, and Sidney Brown wasn't ready. Wasn't going to be ready anywhere near the opener. Could they have made a better move there? Maybe. I don't know. But
who looks real good in Chicago? That Kevin Byard. I wouldn't mind having that guy.
He is having
that
guy.
What's the deal with that? Because I thought he looked awful last year.
He did look awful.
Yeah.
He did look awful. But he's playing well in Chicago. I mean, again, added to another list of DBs that have left here and played well. I don't understand it.
That's interesting to me when you see guys leave here and play well, because there was a time with the Eagles when that never happened.
Yeah.
They would move on from players and fans would be, oh my God, how can we make it? You can't let this guy go. And then he'd go to the new team and the new team would be like, what the hell is this? This guy's terrible, but it's troubling. There are several people like that. TJ Edwards had a hell of a game over in London.
Jordan Hicks is good and healthy. The reason why we didn't sign him was because of health, and he's been healthy.
He had not missed a game for 4 straight years after leaving the Eagles.
So crazy. I mean, Rasul Douglas is playing for the Bills right now, and he's
in the right system. He can't go long, but in a short, playing press coverage in a cover 2, he's very useful.
Yeah,
as he was when he was here.
Exactly. Just was the wrong scheme when he was here. Les, before you go, one more question Martian has for you. Thoughts on Jalen checking into that deep shot with less than 2 minutes left? Second and 11 with the Browns timeout left. Is that alarming behavior from QB1? I have my thoughts too, but go ahead, Les. What do you think?
I wouldn't. I don't like doing that there, but it certainly worked, and I got to think Jalen envisions a world where they can do that regularly, and that's the world you want to live in. They might not be there yet, but I don't, it was AJ's healthy right now, and he was ready to kick some butt yesterday. And against that secondary, I thought, it worked. If it hadn't worked, I think we'd all be throwing ourselves off bridges. Yeah. But I don't know if it's alarming. I want to see him get to the point where that's 2 years ago, I don't think anybody would have questioned that one bit. It would have been like, this is what we do.
We did it.
I don't know. I'm not that alarmed. I did think at the time, like, oh my God, what in the world? Oh, good job. Like everybody else. It's like when a shooter pulls up just on the other side of midcourt to launch one and it goes in.
Steph Curry, when you're Steph Curry, you just pull up from anywhere.
If you're Caitlin Clark, then
from 40.
I think with AJ, here's the thing: AJ and Jalen doing that, it's nothing new. They were doing it in 2022. And people, it was just working way more than it wasn't in 2022. I mean, there were so many games in 2022 where he was ill-advisedly throwing deep to AJ no matter what the coverage was. And it worked a lot of times. And then in 2023, it regressed back to the mean. So
But
this
I
is
think you see that with quarterbacks and receivers. You know, I think
yeah.
Donovan did that when he had T.O. that
Yeah,
very
T.O.,
brief
yeah.
time. Just let's
Just
see if
he was
he can
down
get
there,
this.
right?
You know,
I'm pretty sure Stafford did it all the time with Megatron, all
Yeah.
the time. Yeah, so I mean,
Calvin's down there somewhere.
yeah, Brady did it with Moss. I mean, when you have a guy you trust, and I know that they obviously work on that all the time, and they have that confidence to be like, I know you're going to come down with this more often than not. They're going to do that. I think we have to just. Is it bad process? Probably.
yeah.
Like we're talking
But you
schematic.
also want your quarterback to have some balls. You know, you don't.
Yeah.
Everybody hated Sam Bradford for checking down all the time. You know,
Yeah.
Jalen wanted to go get him. You know,
Yeah.
Jalen wanted to kill him right there.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the mentality he has when it comes to AJ. So I mean, I think we just kind of have to accept it. Like that he had the two of them.
As long as it works.
Yeah, as long as it works. The two of them have that confidence in each other, and so we're gonna keep seeing it happen. And for better or for worse, it's gonna work sometimes. It's gonna work. It's not gonna work all the time. So
Richie, I don't
Why?
want to see a nice.
Why do you want
We
to
all
see a
said
nice
why.
in the game? Why?
Richie, are you a
and-
direct relative?
How an honest reply? Like, why do you want to see Anaya Smith?
Why?
why? There's
Texas
no.
A&M alum, maybe? I have no idea.
I'll
what
throw Chucks in the game and give him a few targets before I throw Anaya Smith in there.
Poor Paris Campbell. They activated Paris Campbell yesterday, and then never found. Couldn't he go out and block for an extra point or something? I mean, they didn't even put him on the field in any capacity. That's when you're not like the backup quarterback. That's really a diss. You know, they can't find a down to send you in there.
Yeah, exactly. Richie says he's a better slot receiver than Dotson. According to
he's
what?
not. No, he's not. John Dotson actually made some plays yesterday.
Yeah, he
I have
did.
4 minutes.
He's
I have
been
4
pretty
minutes.
good,
I don't know if you guys saw this drama yesterday. Ruben Frank on the postgame show and I were both scratching our head. We both saw Dotson catch 2 passes, right?
Yes.
Well, one of them was a lateral. So it's a run. He had a 13-yard run, which made the Eagles' running statistics, which weren't great, look a little better than they actually were, and took away a reception from the poor guy. You know.
Oh yeah, it did. Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
that 4 minute offense at the end of the game lacked logic. Like it really did. It worked. So it's
they
cool.
couldn't run very well. You know, if you're noticing, Rob, they weren't killing him with
They
the run.
weren't. No,
They
but
really weren't.
like there was a
At
third
any
down
point
before
during
the
the game,
warning,
even before Mailata went down, they just weren't. Yeah, that
throwing
one
the
run
football
where
is fine, but Les, they throw a comeback route to Dotson before the 2-minute warning. They got the first down. Yes, I believe it was third down.
Mm-hmm.
They got the first down, but he goes out of bounds.
Right. Yeah.
Then thank God that huck to AJ Brown worked, because that's dangerous. If that doesn't work, it's broken up or whatever happens. Like,
I still don't like
the ball back.
I still don't like the Browns to go down and score, but who knows? You know, after Seattle last year,
I didn't think the Falcons were going to go down and score.
Yeah, well, Kirk Cousins is a little better than
Deshaun
is right now, and that offensive line of Atlanta is certainly better than what the Browns have. But yeah, I'm glad they didn't have to do that.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's again questionable process, but the results worked for today. So
but you can't run that 4-minute offense when you're running the ball 2 yards a shot. You know,
exactly. Now, I will give them a bit of a benefit of the doubt, because most of the time when we're running a 4-minute offense, we run it well. So we usually, you know what I mean? Like we have shown instances where we dominate and we run when we want to. So like in one game where we were having a little bit of a trouble, and so they wanted to be a little bit more aggressive, I'm not gonna complain big picture. If there's anything this offense like I have some faith in, it's doing those kind of things.
Hey, before I go, I hate to hijack this, but one thing I wanted to get your guys' opinion on that's going to be very big coming up. So there's not going to be any Jordan Mailata probably for like 3-4 weeks at least, I think. Fred Johnson looked okay there, but the other move you could make is Mekhi Becton, who is a left tackle, moving back to left tackle, and you have Tyler Steen, who has played very well as a right guard this year. I know Stoutland hates to create 2
Right.
points.
I
of
agree with
uncertainty.
Stoutland.
But in this case, Becton is certainly a more pedigreed left tackle than Freddie is.
Yeah.
To me, I might actually go to Becton and say, okay, you've settled in great here at right guard. If you want to stay there, maybe that's the best place for you here. But if you really felt strongly that you could just move out to left tackle and not lose anything, then maybe we'll do that and see what Becton said. Mate, I don't know, but I would be thinking about it. I mean, it's a tough call.
It's absolutely. I think people forget that, Fred Johnson looked really good against the Saints, and again, he looked fine yesterday. He looked horrible against the Bucks.
Yeah, he did.
So, like, it's not like he's showing a pedigree of, oh yeah, he's great, so just plug him in. Like, no, there are some question marks. So it's a tough call, Les. It's one of those where, if you're gonna ask me, I'd rather just put Becton at left tackle and then bump up Steen. But I'm also not gonna say that with confidence, and I'm just gonna trust Stoutland. If whatever Stoutland thinks is best,
you can start with Johnson at left tackle,
and then if it doesn't work,
just tell.
Well, you're going to get a bit of a test with the Giants, frankly. The Giants
very good front,
very good front.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I tweeted that last night. That's like, Stoutland's got to figure this out, because like whoever he's going to have at left tackle, Brian Burns has played really, really well, so he's got to figure it out.
Boy, what a damn Panthers! What a
so dumb. Chucks, we could always get Jason Peters off the practice squad.
That's right.
I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I mean, whatever they want to do, if they feel like
they wanted JP here to as a backup, I
don't care. All right, Les, thank you so much again for
thank you guys. Good to be here. Everybody have a good evening.
Yeah, you too, and hopefully next week, big game against the New York Giants, our first divisional game this year. And it is Saquon's revenge game. I will just tell everyone right now, if Nick gets in the way of Saquon's revenge game and only gives him like 10 carries, I am going to be one pissed off fan. I'm going to be so mad.
I think everyone
bet the under on every Saquon.
Oh my God, I'm going to be so mad if he sabotages his revenge game. So
less than 100 yards and then 0 touchdowns. Let's go.
I mean, he's gotten it. To be fair, he's gotten his touches every game.
No, well, except for
I don't see that being
except for the Bucks. But yeah, that's why
let's throw that one out.
Yeah. All right, Les, thank you so much,
guys. Thank you again. Take care.
See ya.
Bye, Les.
Les with Bowen on the Birds with us on Eagles Talk A2D Radio. Always love having him as usual. And remember, guys, hit that like, hit that subscribe. We've got a few minutes left. Monday Night Football is into the third quarter now. A good game, good divisional game we got going on. So we want to get you out to that. But anything else you guys want to touch on in regards to the Eagles win over the Browns? Any players you want to highlight, takeaways, or anything else you want to touch on?
Jalen needs to just not turn the ball over. He needs to not turn the ball over. Like, that's the key for him. I don't care what his stats are. They did a lot of design runs up the middle with Jalen, which I liked a lot. So whoever's idea that was, keep doing that, because that's what he's good at, just being decisive, getting downhill. He's super strong, even though he's not that big. So that was a good idea. And just you can't turn the ball over at the rate Jalen Hurts was turning the ball over and have sustained success in this league. Just keep it clean, Jalen.
Yep. MP, I forgot there was a comment I wanted to get to, because MPTR does ask. He did ask this for less, but we'll answer it here. Do you think the shotgun over under center hurts Saquon's chances to hit the hole moving? I think MP, that is the issue with every running back. It's not just Saquon. So the downside with having your running back in shotgun is you don't have that forward momentum to hit a hole. You're starting out laterally to the line of scrimmage. So you have to really be able to get burst off of that first cut, which some backs have more problems with than others. But like you're with every running back is gonna have an adjustment going for running in under shotgun as compared to under center. Saquon is one of the running backs where it doesn't matter as much. Like he's going to be able to be successful in any alignment. He's one of the rare running backs who can say that. So again, there is a difference, but it's not good. It's not a concern with Saquon. So I wouldn't be too worried about that.
I would like to see them under center more.
They did
a little more with the running. Yeah, they did some.
They did some, and I liked it. So like this is what we were all, I was hinting to is that like we're starting to see some of the Kellen Moore stuff. We just want to see more of it. Like a lot of the under center, a lot of the pistol stuff, even pistol. That's like the happy medium between shotgun and under center, right? Because your quarterback is still, deep in the pocket, and then you have the running back behind them. So pistol, we have had success in pistol. So do it.
I think Kenny's big. Kenny had a 15-yarder. I think that was under center.
At a pistol. Yeah.
That was at a pistol. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. It was. Who was it? Dotson went in motion. It was a good sequence because remember the Dotson 13-yarder where it was a pass play in the flat, but it was a run technically. They did similar motion with him, and that ended up setting up Gainwell's big run to the left side. So that was good sequencing by Kellen Moore there. So I do like that. So yeah, it's again like I don't think any of us are asking for asking for under center or pistol to be used all the time, but like just mix it in a little bit more. There's good plays there. You know what I mean? So hopefully we see more of it as we go on. Anything else you guys want to hit on? Anything NFL wise? I mean, I know there are a lot of crazy storylines in this week's games, but if you want to touch on one thing before we head out, you can.
Cowboys are trash. It's beautiful. God bless.
Yeah,
Poor Jerry.
That's nothing new.
It's all his fault. So
it is. It's beautiful.
It's all his fault.
It is all his fault.
CD has 0 100-yard games to start the season, which makes me happy. And Jack has 6 interceptions.
Yeah.
With all due respect to the Kansas City Chiefs and their quest for a three-peat, I think the Ravens are the best team in the NFL right now.
Yep, I think so too. And
we've seen it all before. I get it with the Ravens and they choke, but I'm not picking anybody. And I know the Ravens lost to the Chiefs in week 1. And one more
Talk
thing.
to me in January.
The NFC North is loaded. I picked the Packers to win the Super Bowl on this show. They're 4-2. They're in last place.
It's crazy.
Wild.
I think we all said that NFC North is probably the best division, right? Like I prefaced it. I had the Vikings in last place, but I said like the Vikings could be a good team, and they're leading the division undefeated. And again, like Chicago Bears, every week Caleb Williams has looked better and better and better.
Better each week. He does.
Oh my God! So like
Aiden Hutchinson
make sure those nails are painted.
That was huge. Yeah, that's so sad to see Aiden Hutchinson. Like a break like that. I'm pretty sure your
foot exploded, bro.
That's so
sad.
Like
injuries happen, but like that's a big loss in a really good division. That could be like the difference.
No, I 100 like that could be the difference maker in them not either winning the division or not getting to the Super Bowl. They were my Super Bowl pick, but that is significant because they don't have anyone else on that defense to win 1-on-1 and dominate as a pass rusher. Like he's their best player on defense.
We have a Lions Vikings showdown next Sunday.
Yeah, it's crazy. Packers are good, so it's crazy. NFC North. My takeaway. What was I gonna say? No, I was gonna say the Caleb Williams thing. So that was what I want to touch on. I mean, I need to watch it back because I only saw highlights on Red Zone, but I need to watch the condensed version again of the whole Saints Bucks game because apparently that was insane insanity. So I want to watch that back through tonight again after this game. So a lot of entertainment stuff. If you are watching or following A2D Radio, anyone who's listening, we thank you. I will have a film breakdown reel coming out sometime tomorrow. I got to finish the film tonight and then go from there. So I will have a reel for you tomorrow on the film breakdown. And I think I'm trying to choose between 2 plays, so we'll see which one I go with. But thank you for all of you guys who are listening and tuning in. Again, we are brought to you by Baggio's Bread. Make sure you mention A2D for 10% off your in-store purchase. From myself, for Brinks, and for PY, and the rest of us at A2D. Catch all of our shows the rest of the week. And we'll see you next week, same time, same place. Hopefully, they need to win this game. I swear to God, if we lose against the Giants in Saquon's revenge game, I will not be happy. So they better win. But until then,
it's not gonna be a walkover. I'll tell you that.
I know that, but he just better win, and he better have a huge game. So we'll see you guys next week. Peace out.